Oh, it's another picture perfect Sunday in Cairns, an actual sunny Sunday, which is good to see. Very nice. You could do worse than living up here, I can tell you. Love those hills ahead of me. I think they look fantastic. I just want to make a couple of observations about my new place. There's always a few teething issues. Very minor one. This is actually to do with my fridge door, of all things. In the old place, the fridge was a real prick of a thing to open. With this fridge, it's the opposite. In general, it's more of an issue with the doors swinging open with the new fridge, which I guess is actually better than having them hard to access with being so jammed tight that you have to basically rip apart the refrigerator, as I did in the old place, just to get my stuff out. And of course, you'd have bottles and what have you going A over T onto the floor, which is okay if they're plastic, but not so good if they're glass. You've got a shattered bottle on the tiles. It's not so great. It's a pain to clean up, I know from experience. And of course, the shards always spread right across the floor to the farthest point, so they find crevices to hide. It's Murphy's Law personified, basically. But look, that's one of the only real niggling things there. The other thing I've got to say is that even though I don't have a neighbour above me, the ones right next door to me, the bedroom does directly abut onto my bedroom for the next door neighbour. And they've had a couple of domestics since I've been there. And last night was the worst one. I think it was a domestic. Either that or they were just partying late. I couldn't really tell, but they had a domestic earlier in the week. I knew that for a fact. But this time, I wasn't 100% sure. But it went on to about 2:30 in the morning, which is a bit late, but I suppose it's Saturday night, so I can excuse them for that. The worst sound is when I heard them bonking. Well, I'm sure they were bonking because it was that squeaky sort of mattressy sound when they're right at the climax of the act, as it were. It was pretty obvious what was going on. I'd only actually experienced something that loud in Hanoi, in a cheap hotel, and the room next door to me, had an amorous couple there, and they were doing the same thing. So, but yeah, that hasn't happened again, thank God. That's really off-putting. I just don't want to know about my neighbours' sex lives. I'm just not that interested. So luckily that noise hasn't continued, but it was a bit noisy last night. But overall, the flat is incredibly quiet compared to where I've been. And the other big bonus is it's got that fantastic cross ventilation, which is going to be godsend when it's hot in those months later in the year, or early next year that is. So that'll be good. But I'm just actually walking up to Spotless, which is a company. Well, there's two companies. One's a cleaning firm. They come top of the Google search. But the one I'm looking for is the ones who sell drapes and curtains and blinds. And they're located up the road here a bit. So it'd be a good half-hour walk to get to Kazali's Stadium. Across the road from them, Spotless is located. And there I hopefully be to get these specific curtains that have got eyelets. Otherwise I'll just have to go with the bog standard ones to get someone to fit them for me. So look, we'll see how we go. It's not a big deal, but I'll try to get this sorted. And then after that, I think I'll start looking for some tradesmen, because I'd like to start hunting around and getting some quotes on some work to be done on the flat. Very happy where I am. It's really worked out well. I'm happier than I thought I'd be. I guess it's because all the unknowns are now sort of gone. All the financial crap's out of the way, the legal stuff's out of the way. Now it's just a matter of me. I also found out that the rates have been paid up to the end of the year, so that was a nice bonus, because that's a little over $1,000 every 6 months. So nice to know that's paid up until January, so that's great. So just got my body corporate coming up. Apart from that, no rent, fantastic, and see what we can do about renovations. Yeah, a bit of traffic around here. It's actually generally pretty quiet most of Cairns on a Sunday, but obviously up here you always get a lot of traffic. It just can't be avoided. But fingers crossed I'll have some luck finding those curtains. Okay, mission accomplished. I got the curtains. They were longer than I'd hoped. They're about a metre, 2 metres long as well as wide. But that probably is just the style they are, and it'll be okay. I think they'll work okay on the little hooks I've got. They seem to have the right braiding or whatever, the embroidery along the edges. So that should work out okay. I'm a bit stuffed walking back from Spotless because it's right near Casale Stadium, so it's a good half-hour walk from here. And the wind was just blowing a constant easterly, so it was really hard work walking home, especially when I was carrying 2 bags with me because I stopped off at the supermarket. But prior to going to the supermarket, I was just walking down Mulgrave Highway, and this guy in a flat top truck or a pickup truck or whatever pulled out in front of me in the driveway from one of the places he's leaving, and he offered me a lift where I was going. I said, look, I'm just going to the supermarket next door, which I was. So, but yeah, that was nice of him to actually offer me a lift. So, you know, it's quite a pleasant walk up there, and the supermarket, the Coles up there, is much bigger than one at Central. So I think I might go back shopping there a bit. It just depends how my energy levels are, but it's probably about twice as far to go, but it might be worth the effort. But yeah, the people at Spotless were really helpful, and the woman who was actually serving, she took me right down the back and introduced me to who was the specialist in the area. And the curtains I bought cost on special, and they still cost about $95, so they're not cheap, but they're the good quality ones. I think, well, what the hell, I've just bought the place. I'm not going to skimp on things like furnishings. I'll buy some decent stuff. And I just hope it all fits and comes together. And I'll buy another set of those before their sales finishes next Tuesday. But yeah, it was pretty successful, and it's a beautiful day to have a walk apart from the wind. The sun's fantastic, and it's just lovely looking out at all the hills and what have you. It's a nice day to get out and get out and about, get a bit of exercise and do a bit of shopping.